You know, this is a real special day for me. It's truly very, very special to be before you and make a few remarks. And the reason it's so special, as Robert indicated, this is where I started my naval career. Back in 1964, the military branches were here at the University of Chattanooga. I was always interested in the military. Two branches in particular, the Air Force and the Navy. So I took the OCS exam for both the Air Force and the Navy, and I passed both. So then I had a decision to make. Well, obviously, I chose the Navy. And the reason I chose the Navy is I could simply fly or I could drive ships. Whereas with the Air Force, I would only fly. And I love the Air Force. By the way, how many veterans do we have here? Would you stand? Let's give them. Wow, that's great. Thank you all. But with the Navy, it gave me that option. I could fly or I could drive ships. I could do either one. But I had one little problem, and that was my brother and I, the closest we had ever been to the water was in swimming in Lake Chickamauga. I had no idea what port and starboard, what that meant. No earthly idea at all. But being here at UC prepared me for being in the U.S. Navy. The classroom skills that I applied here at the University of Chattanooga, they were just a great fit for my 27-year naval career. I did join the Navy, and I did see the world, leaving Chattanooga shortly after graduating and then returning in 2008. And it's good to be back home, and it's especially good to be here with you all today. You know, there's 2 days that are set aside to honor veterans, Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Now, for a lot of people, those 2 days are confused, but the days are different. Veterans Day is a day of celebrating service, a time to pay tribute to all who have served. And Memorial Day is a day to commemorate service. Memorial Day is a day to focus on the fallen, remembering the fallen. Veterans Day is a day to set aside for all of us who have served. I think Veterans Day is largely intended to thank living veterans for their service and to acknowledge that their contributions to our national security and appreciation that they haven't received. It also underscores just the fact of everyone who has served has really sacrificed. Yes, obviously, those that have passed away have sacrificed. But also, when you serve on active duty, you sacrifice. Veterans Day is also an opportunity to spread the word and the immense contributions that veterans have made. And these contributions span from Valley Forge to Vietnam, from Kuwait to Kandahar, from Berlin to Baghdad. We veterans have borne the cost of American wars, and we have stood watch over American peace. I am a Vietnam War veteran. I can remember being in Vietnam just as though it were yesterday. I remember working with the swift boats in the Mekong Delta. I remember wearing the flak jacket. I remember the helmet. I remember the .45. I remember wearing my University of Chattanooga shorts because it was really hot as we boarded and searched those junks, preventing the infiltration into the coast. I thought I was an invincible 24-year-old at that time. And I remember returning to the U.S. and the reception that was received. It wasn't pretty. Our Vietnam veterans served with great honor. They often came home greeted not with gratitude or support, but with condemnation and neglect. I hope that's something that will never happen again. Some of America turned their back on us, but what we never did is we never turned our back on America. I don't want to limit to speaking about veterans just about national defense. So many veterans have given so much once they take the uniform off. And a good place to start is just with students. The more that students are exposed to veterans, the better are the chances that we can influence in a very positive way. In our city today, we have several veteran mentoring groups that are in our elementary school. They care about these students, and hopefully the positive image and the discipline that they will show these students, that they will show them also that the doors of education opens so many doors and so many opportunities. I reflect back on my own life, my brother, my sister. We grew up in East Chattanooga. We grew up in very, very simple means. But early on, we quickly learned that education was a key to opening the doors. We also had people around us that care. Those two ingredients just opened the door for success for us. Earlier, I mentioned that I didn't think that communities would turn their back on veterans again. I think that's especially true right here in our community. The continual appreciation. For example, tomorrow, UTC versus Wofford, Military Appreciation Day. The Southeast Tennessee Veterans Coalition doing things for veterans. And the mayor's efforts to eliminate veterans' homelessness throughout our community. On Saturday at the game, they've housed 220 veterans, brought them off the street, put them in houses. But they need some household items for those veterans that they brought off the street. I know all of you will be at the game tomorrow, so please remember to bring a few household items. The VA simply can't provide everything. That's where we, the community, in this grassroots effort, are coming forward and providing the veterans and their families that we've created basically My Community VA, where the community partners with the VA in providing all of the services that veterans and their families need. 98 years ago today, the battlefields of Europe fell quiet as World War I came to a close on the 11th day of the 11th month of the 11th hour. But I don't think that we should mark this day as the day remembering that victory. But what we should mark this day is a day of celebrating those who made that victory possible. I thank you so much for having me here today. It's such an honor to be here and to have been a part of this university. It shaped my life for years and years and years. And I thank you for having me.